on schedule. I think we'll get started. I'm told by Joshua that I'm not a candidate and therefore I don't absolutely have to use a microphone if in fact I'm audible. My hands shake, so I hate handling one of those things. Can you hear me in the back, or do I need to? Yes or no? No. All right. I'm Dave Lowe, and before reading the official welcome statement from Friends of Pownal, I would simply want to share a few of my seasonal comments at this time of the year. It has been said, I think, that there are only three things certain in life: death, taxes, and the fact that serving as a town official is both time-consuming and stressful. And that we know for sure. So a word about gratitude. Those of us in town who are on the sidelines are grateful to those of you who have stepped forward to represent us and to serve us. We know it's time-consuming. We know it's stressful. We thank those of you who are coming to the end of your terms of office, and we thank those of you who are stepping forward to put yourself in that position once again. Again, we recognize it is not easy. In terms of civic responsibility, as we move forward with another season of town meetings and elections, I think we do well to remind ourselves that while there may be great frustration with lack of civility and gridlock in Washington, D.C., it's up to us at the local level to make sure that democracy functions well. We can best take care of our town by staying informed and involved, listening carefully to each other's opinions, even as we sometimes strongly disagree, and seeking thoughtful compromise as we go about forging the future path for Pownal. We haven't always lived up to the spirit of that civic responsibility during this last year, I think, and we should remember that individual and collective efforts in small towns like Pownal, Vermont, may just be the best hope for keeping America great. We all have a stake in that. From the Friends of Pownal, I read the following welcome statement. Friends of Pownal is a small Vermont domestic nonprofit corporation established in March 2008. The current directors are Ruth Botso, David Fowle, Karen Galise, Rose Marie Pelletier, and Jim Winchester. Its purpose is to provide historical and educational materials to and to foster communication and understanding among and civic pride in residents of the town of Pownal, Vermont. Some past activities which fulfill this purpose have included purchasing digital cameras for each elementary classroom and purchasing playground equipment for Oak Hill Children's Center, as well as sponsoring this annual event to help candidates become better known. During Pownal's 250th anniversary celebration, Friends of Pownal worked with Historical Society's committees, providing no-interest loans for their book, calendar, t-shirt, and mug sales, and the group also provides refreshments for various community events. This meet and greet event is the only annual event the group sponsors. Thank you to Cat TV and to Joshua for its commitment to videoing these events, making the content available to all the citizens. Thanks to Pownal Elementary School and their maintenance staff for setting up and taking down this event, and thanks to the Select Board for covering this event under its insurance policy. Before we start, the usual procedural reminders, and I may need help with this. I think bathrooms are out around there, and emergency exits, should there ever be a need for one. I don't know what that would be for, but they're there, and back here. Please turn off or mute your cell phones. All candidates, both those on the ballot and those with a write-in campaign, have been invited to prepare a less than 3-minute statement which includes why they are running, any past positions or services to the community, the skills they bring to the position, and their priorities and aspirations if elected. Ruth Botso will serve as the timekeeper and will indicate a half-minute warning to those candidates as they speak. Candidates will be called in the order of the positions on the ballot. Recognizing that public speaking is not always everyone's favorite pastime, let's support these candidates by giving them our undivided attention while they speak. This is not a rally, and it's not a debate. Please just listen and hold any applause for the end of the session when we can thank all of the participants collectively. And at the conclusion of the presentations, everyone is invited to stay and to chat with the candidates and to enjoy some light refreshments in the back. And I now happily turn this over to Pastor Jason of the Faith Church, which is across from the Solomon Wright Library. And thank you for your willingness to serve as moderator.
Thank you so much. All right.
There you go.
Excellent. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So the procedure is as such, right? We're going to have 3 minutes, I believe, correct, for each candidate. We're going to go straight down the ballot as listed on our schedule tonight, and I'm going to introduce you. Then you get to come up and you get to take your turn at the front with me on the hot seat for about 3 minutes. Okay. And then you get to go back and chill while I get to stay up here and tolerate the rest of it. So we're going to start off with. Running for moderator for the town is Timothy Holbrook, who is not here tonight, but we do want to make sure we recognize that he is running for that position. And next, who is here, I believe, for selectman for 3 years is Michael Gardner. Is he here? Here he goes. All right. I think they want you here.
Sitting or standing?
Whichever you prefer.
I'll sit.
All right. Perfect.
Thank you. Good evening. I don't have a written statement per se, just a few things that I want to bring forward. One of them is there's a rumor going around that I'm part of a machine, and I'm going to tell you that that's absolutely true. I am part of a machine, and that machine contains 46.7 square miles, and it's called Pownal. We're all part of this machine, whether we like it or not, whether we were born here or whether we moved here. We're all still part of this machine that we need to move forward. Simple as that. Some of the things that I think are very important, accountability. I think we need to hold everybody, elected officials, whether they're elected or appointed, and the townspeople. We need to hold each other accountable for things that are happening every day. Not moving forward. Another thing that I don't like is bullying. That's a huge thing. I run the school bus company for Dufour. It's just unacceptable. There's a hostile work environment that's just can't happen. It just can't happen. We have to do away with these things. I don't have any fear in decision making. I can give you a real quick blurb here. When I was fire chief, I came upon a accident scene. Had to make a decision. I was the chief. I was the officer in charge. Had to make a decision. There was 2 cars involved. One was a father of a bunch of members in my department. One was another young girl. Had one set of jaws coming. Both people needed to be cut out of their cars. I had to make the decision on which one we went to first. Let me tell you, if you have fear, that's it. You have to make that decision. And I can honestly tell you that the decision that I made, both of them were alive when we were done. And both of them walked out of a hospital. So that I don't have any fear on decision making. That's just another thing. It's part of my leadership skills that I think elected to the select board. I can bring those strong leadership skills with me, obviously. I don't have a problem with that. I really and truly don't. I'm not afraid to set precedents. I served on the school board for, I think, 7 or 8 years, back when my children were in the school. And one of the things that, with other members, we started was a winter carnival a day for the kids in school. And I'm proud to say that that was a huge success. So in closing, Pownal's a great place to live, and I challenge every single one of us to prove it. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Running for selectman for 3 years as well is Mr. Brian Harris. He's going to join us at this time.
Hi, Jason. Thank you. Hello, everybody. So, excuse me for the microphone. So, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Brian Harris. I am running for the 3-year select board position this year. I am married and I have 2 daughters. I have lived in Pownal my entire life. I have worked at Command Composites in Bennington for the last 14 years. I was a volunteer firefighter in my 20s. I'm on the board for Pownal Youth Baseball, and I've been a coach for the past 6 years. I'm currently the chairman of the select board, and for a few months took on the position of health officer and zoning administrator as was needed. This past year, with there being 4 new members of the board, I was voted to be chairman and accepted the challenge. I've learned a tremendous amount about the inner functioning of a municipality. I know that I have not been perfect, but like I said, it was a year of learning, and I've always strived to do my best. I have spent the last year trying to foster an environment at the meetings where people could come together and be comfortable to express their opinions and offer input. My hopes in doing this was so that people would become more involved and come together finding commonalities. I feel that this has been accomplished on many occasions. I also know when there are topics fueled by emotion, I as a selectman need to keep order and civility. I would like the opportunity to continue to encourage people to reach out to the select board with their concerns and ideas for our town. I think I've done a good job this year, and in the toughest of times, I remained level-headed and impartial as I heard everybody's opinions and positions. After taking it all in, I try to vote in the best interest of the town and its citizens. I still feel that I want to be a voice for the people of Pownal, and I want to reach them. Want them to reach out to me, whether it be for a street sign, the condition of our roads, or an idea you have for our town. Though it may not seem like it, we as a town have accomplished a lot this year. We've opened a new hiking trail thanks to the help of the Pownal Recreation Task Force. We've also secured access to over 700 plus acres of town land for public use. We proposed and have the voters' approval for a new town hall, which we are steadily making gains on. And we have continued to work with several entities involved with the former Pownal landfill contamination. We have seen some cleanup of our properties and people of Pownal taking pride in our town. After some concerns brought before the board regarding our town's auditing procedures, we conducted a forensic audit which has shown no fraud, but will give us suggested ideas to tighten procedures to eliminate the risk of fraudulent activity. If re-elected, I will continue to be a level-headed voice, offering my unique sense of humor and perspective in hopes of bringing people together. I would like to see a continued increase of recreational opportunities in Pownal and the continued cleanup of abandoned properties. I would like to see a continued push to bring businesses into Pownal by working closely with the EDC, the Zoning Board, and the Planning Commission to help advocate for a more flexible environment to welcome businesses. This in turn would hopefully keep our taxes lower than most of the surrounding towns while our town continues to update. This is a very time-consuming, thankless position, and many have asked me why I'm running again. My answer is my love of this town and wanting to make it a continued place where my children want to grow and live their lives.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Running for selectman for 1 year, starting at the top is Mr. Ron Bisson. Join us. Would you like a mic?
I guess I'll probably have to use it. Well, I was a selectman for, I don't know, 6, 7 years before, and I thought we were moving in the right direction. All right, close enough? Anyway, I have limited education, but I've got a lot of work experience, and I've been to a lot of vocational studies and things like that, and I've got a gruff maybe I ain't saying what you like. Anyway, I got
You got it right there.
kind of a gruff exterior, but I really love this town. I grew up in this town myself, and I've seen a lot of things happen. I've seen things that I didn't like, but I felt that it wasn't for me to decide, it was the people to decide. I sat on the board when they talked about the town hall and things. I said, look, I want to vote from the citizens. That's what I want. I didn't feel that it was, because you're going to spend a big amount of money, I feel that the citizens should be involved. Now, and I want us to progress. We do need a new town hall for sure. But I'd like to see things go along, and I'd like to stop this infighting. I don't know how to do that totally, but I think that if you elect people, you put them on a board, I think maybe they should be making more decisions than somebody coming and just interrupting meetings and lasting for 4 or 5 minutes, barking about something which nobody is prepared for. I think we should, what's on the agenda and what the, if you've got something you want to put on the agenda usually comes out on Tuesday. I want to see regular meetings every other Thursday if that's what they decide. Because a lot of people, I worked out of town my whole younger life, nights, but I worked out of town. I never got to see all this stuff. Now I got a chance, and there's a lot of people just like me. They work, they don't get a chance. And you have a special meeting. They figure Thursday night, that's what we decided years ago. And I think that we should go back to that. And as far as most of the people in here, I know them all, and they know that I'm an honest person. And I'll give you the straight shot, even if you don't like it.
Thank you so much. Next for selectman for 1 year is Ms. Angie Rawlins. Check the mic.
Yes, thank you. Hi, my name's Angie. I've lived in Pownal my whole entire life. I was married here. My kids were baptized here. I love Pownal, and I would like to see the nonsense stop. I've been on the school board for 17 years. I know how to agree to disagree in a respectful, honest way. I'm also on Oak Hills Children's Center. I've been on that board for about 6 years. I've been in retail for 30 years. I've been a manager for 15 years. I know how to work with people, respect people's opinions, be able to move forward. The best thing I would love to see for this town is to stop tabling things and get the town moving forward. That's pretty much all I have to say. Thank you very much.
Good job. Next is a write-in candidate, John Boucher. Mike.
Good evening, everybody. I'm just going to read a quick statement. I'm John Boucher. I'm a lifelong resident of Pownal. I've been taught values and respect by great people, my parents. They have taught me to live with my neighbors, love our friends and family, and respect our elders, and along with helping our community. I went to Norwich University, where I was in the military. Our motto was, I will not lie, cheat, or steal, nor will I tolerate those who do. I graduated as a captain of a hotel company, and from Norwich and military has also strengthened these things that I have been taught by my parents. I learned more about respect, honor, trust, morals, discipline, courage, quality, safety, duty, valor, and honor and integrity. These are the words that I have been taught and tried to live by. Many people I know, many people I know that use these words and believe in them. It is easy to see when people do not understand these things or use these words in their lives. It is easy to respect others if you respect yourselves. When you disrespect someone, it becomes an insult to them. When you disrespect people, you think little of them. Honor is an adherence to a standard, a code. Honor is the bond between an individual and a society, and the quality of that person, a code of conduct. Duty is something expected to be by morals and legal obligation. People who work for this town should have morals and respect the policies in place. Some do not. Honesty, integrity. Honesty is, and I'm going to say a quote here, honesty is a very expensive gift. Don't expect it from cheap people. I am not, another quote is, I am not bound to be true. I am not bound to succeed. But I am bound to live by the light that I have. I must stand with I must stand with anyone who stands right. Stand with him while he is right, and part with him when he goes wrong. From Abraham Lincoln. With that said, those of you that are here tonight should be asking questions. See if the candidates value these things and are here for the citizens or themselves. Emails have opened my eyes, and I hope that opens yours. Thank you. Time is up.
Good job. Thank you so much. Next writing candidate for selectman for 1 year, Miss Donna Lozon, I believe, is not here tonight. All right. So up next is Miss Shannon Mcclenathan.
Thank you. Welcome, and thank you all for coming tonight. My name is Shannon Mcclenathan. For those who do not know me, I would like to share a little bit about myself. I was born here and attended Oak Hill Children's Preschool back in the day when it was on Oak Hill Road Schoolhouse. My family moved to Williamstown, where I was raised and attended school. I started working at Williamstown Savings Bank at the age of 16 and worked full-time through college to support myself and pay my college debt. My parents were working class people and had 3 kids they couldn't afford to help me with college. At the age of 20, I moved back to Pownal because I loved the community. I bought my first house my senior year of college, and I graduated from MCLA. In addition, I graduated from the ABA Strohmeyer National Graduate School of Banking at UPenn. I worked at Williamstown Savings Bank for 21 years and worked my way up from a teller to a vice president when I left in 2013. I took a new opportunity at the Bank of Bennington, where I'm now the senior vice president. Community service is something I am passionate about. In my lifetime of community service evidences that. While in high school, other kids were out partying on Friday nights. I was volunteering as a candy striper at the hospital. I also volunteered for the Helpline Crisis Hotline for 5 years and Elder Services for 10. I've served on many more committees that support our community, even as a working mom of 2. I've been the secretary for the Green Mountain Friends of the NRA for 10 years. I'm the chair of Oak Hill Children's Center and the chair of the Economic Development Committee here in Pownal. I serve on the board of Pownal Cal Ripken, and I've served on the Bennington Area Chamber of Commerce for the last 10 years. Anybody who knows me knows that I'm not a politician. I hate politics and I hate games. I'm a straight shooter. Pownal does not need another politician at the table turning the town business into a circus show in an effort to derail progress. Pownal needs someone at the table that is willing to listen to the needs of the citizens and not run with their own political agenda. This past year, too much energy has been spent on political drama. The majority of our community is sick of it. We need to refocus on the issues, and our select board owes that to us as taxpayers. The forensic audit, which the taxpayers have paid for, has identified many areas of concern, yet received less attention than the political drama. These are our taxpayers' dollars, and we need to feel confident that our policies and procedures are clear and consistent, and that our internal controls are adequate. Our budget is in trouble, and yet there's been little attempt to find ways to cut expenses or increase revenue other than on the back of the property tax owners. I make no promise to please everyone 100% of the time. I do, however, promise to listen and work collaboratively with peers for a solution for the common good. Pownal, we can do better, we can be better, and we have to be better. We have a fundamental choice to make. We can choose to keep going down the path of status quo, which breeds nothing but skepticism and a greater divide, or we can pioneer a new path of hope and optimism for the opportunities of Pownal. Please consider writing me in for 1-year select board, and I invite you all to be excited about the possibilities for our town. Thank you.
The next two candidates for selectmen for 1 year are not here as well. It's Miss Elizabeth Rowe and Miss Tiffany Zwing. The next set we're going to go to is Delinquent Tax Collector, and the first up is Miss Ellen Strohmeyer.
Welcome, everybody. Sorry, I'm not great at public speaking. I'm Ellen Strohmeyer. I've been with the town as an elected official for 30 years. I am also the treasurer for the Southwest Vermont Regional Technical School District. I'm treasurer for the Pownal Valley Fire Department. I'm assistant chief on the rescue squad. I'm an EMT. I do the bookkeeping for my brother's apartment accounts. And I did bookkeeping and payroll clerk for the family farm since I was 15 until 2018. I didn't graduate from college. I did 1.5 years in accounting and unfortunately couldn't afford to finish my degree. I'm seeking your support for the 3-year term as delinquent tax collector to continue to work with the citizens of the town of Pownal. I have the majority of our delinquent tax collectors on payment plans. And I'm hoping to continue to be able to do that with them. I don't know what else to say. I have a lot written here. Am I out of time yet? No. So a little family history. I'm sure most of you know the Strohmeyers, but the first land was purchased in the 1940s by my grandfather, who came from Germany, to start the Strohmeyer farm. The family grew, and as generations evolved, many were involved with the town as elected officials, appointed members to boards, fire departments, and the rescue squad. And a lot of us are still today active in the community. I want you to know that when I was 15, I used to iron my father's shirts to go to the select board meetings. And he is the one that got me involved in the town politics and talked me into becoming part of the community. And that's why I ran for delinquent tax collector 30 years ago, the first time. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Next up for delinquent tax collector as a write-in candidate is Miss Krystal Gardner. She's on her way. Okay, we will move on and we'll get back to her when she arrives, okay? So next will be lister for 3 years, Miss Wendy Jordan.
Hi.
It's a long way to walk.
I'll move. Thank you. Hi, my name is Wendy Jordan, and last February I was asked to step up and fill the need of a municipality. Soon after, I was occupying the vacant lister seat. It was a new field for me, and I didn't know what to expect. My first order of business was to comprehend what a lister is, then tackle a whole new vocabulary. I've been amazed at the immense scope of knowledge needed to successfully perform the duties of this position. I spent the first 4 months as a lister in diligent study and learning. New listers are told by the state advisor that it takes an average of 3 years to begin to get comfortable in the field. That encouraged me to not only that I was right on track in learning the position, but I'm ahead of the curve. I've successfully worked with cartographers, lawyers, and realtors. My knowledge and understanding of specific terminology, procedures, and duties has grown by leaps and bounds. I'm now ready to tackle a second year of service as I focus on furthering my education, experience, and expand into field work. I believe I've settled in nicely to the position, and I look forward to continuing my services for the township as we look for a bright 2020.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Running for the position of auditor for 3 years is Miss Krystal Gardner, who we'll get to when she arrives. After her, auditor for 2 years is Mr. Tom Lankowski. Is he here? All right.
Thank you. Good evening. I want to thank everyone for coming out tonight, and also the Friends of Pownal for hosting this candidates night. Because I wasn't born here in Pownal, so I'm sure a lot of people don't know me. I'm sorry. We built our house here in 2003, and we've been living in town ever since. And having recently retired, I found myself this last year with extra time. You know, the grandkids take a bit of the time, but other than that, I do have some time to give back to the town. And last summer, I was appointed to the third vacant auditor's position by the select board, and I've since last summer been filling that role, and decided this year that I would like to run for that particular office, and here I am. My background is as I said, I've retired. It was 50 years, well, almost 50 years in nonprofits, mostly in hospitals, but also in a couple colleges, and working with the financial management and leadership of those institutions. I'm not an auditor, but I can't tell you how many auditors I've worked with over the years from both the federal government, the state government, and our own internal auditors. So I have plenty of experience in that particular area. So why am I here? I want to give back to the community. As I said, I now have the time to work with the other two auditors, and I feel I can have an impact in looking at the town and the policies that we have, maybe making some improvements in those, and making sure that our practices follow our policies. And over the years, we've strayed a bit, and we just need to come back on track, and I think I can make that happen. And so I'm here hoping that you'll vote for me and remember this face, and that's about all I have to say, so thank you.
Thank you very much. Running for auditor for 1 year is Mr. David Adams.
I've asked Charlene, my wife, to hold the microphone for me because my hands shake quite a bit. But my name is David Adams, and I am presenting this information as a citizen of Pownal interested in Pownal's healthy future. Over the past 30 years, I have served the voters of Pownal as a school board member, a development review board member, and for the past 6 years, an internal auditor. I am also a candidate for a 1-year term as an internal auditor. My sincerity in presenting this information cannot be questioned because I will lose my auditor's job if the following happens. One of the most important expectations required of any auditor is to be independent of the organization being audited. How can a Pownal resident be independent of Pownal when they are auditing Pownal records? The answer is they can't. There is a legal way for the voters of the town of Pownal to change this current outdated practice. Article 30 on the 2020 Town of Pownal warning reads as follows. Shall the town authorize the elimination of the office of town auditor, with future audits to be provided by a certified public accountant licensed in the state of Vermont in accordance with the Vermont statutes annotated Chapter 17, Section 2651B1A and 2A. A yes vote will eliminate the internal auditor's positions. I am also running for the 1-year term of internal auditor to support Krystal Gardner and Tom Lankowski as they continue to learn how to prepare the annual report. Thank you for your time and consideration and listening to what I have to say.
Next running for auditor for a one-year term is this Marlena Pallone.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everybody. Can everybody hear me back there? Okay. So, last year, I was asked to run for select board. I ran on a platform focusing on municipal compliance, transparency, and accountability. That's my thing. I'm pretty much a straight shooter. You know where you stand with me? I'm black and white. You're either in compliance or you're not. Probably drove half the select board crazy because I was always reading and scrutinizing policies. But that's what I do. I didn't serve with emotion. I didn't feel things because you don't feel anything when you're auditing compliance. You're either in compliance or you're not in compliance. Throughout my tenure, I have held true to that mantra, oftentimes pointing out to the board and the community double standards and unequal application of policy, lack of transparency, fraud, waste, abuse, potential financial issues, and cover-ups. Thanks to the forensic auditor, we will hopefully find out what we've been missing for many, many years. Things I've learned since being elected. Well, it was pretty eye-opening to learn that a number of times information was withheld, not only from the public, but from the select board, as well as downright refusal to comply with public records requests. It's pretty egregious when elected officials and community members have to submit a FOIA request to obtain a copy of a record that's public. The Secretary of the State, Mr. Condos, recently stated, more transparency and accountability is needed in municipal government. Yet, here in Pownal, longstanding employees and elected officials dig in their heels, refuse to provide basic documentation related to how municipal taxpayer money is being spent, and if anyone dares question an adjusting journal entry or the lack of detail on a financial report, the individual is inappropriately and unprofessionally treated. As always, I say, honest people are transparent. Guilty people threaten, harass, victimize, refuse to answer questions. I hope moving forward, the next select board will refuse to sign warrants that lack proper documentation, refuse to authorize unnecessary overtime, require proof of work productivity, and will continue to scrutinize time cards, benefits, and invoices. At this time, I am personally withdrawing from my candidacy for internal auditor and request that all my family, friends, neighbors, fan club support Mr. Jim Kosis for the auditor for 1 year. Jim is a former treasurer for the town of Pownal. He has a background in finance and was the most thorough and patient individual to work with me to explain to me the many town budgets, financial statements, and helped me see through the trees. I will take my leave as a private citizen where I will be holding the incoming select board and auditors more, not less, transparent and accountable. Thank you, and God bless.
We have a write-in candidate for the auditor position of 1 year, Mr. Jim Kosis.
Hello, everyone. First of all, I'd like to thank the Friends of Pownal for hosting this event and allowing me to introduce myself and to others to reintroduce myself. My name is Jim Kosis, and I am a write-in candidate for the 1 year position of internal auditor. I am a graduate of Bryant College in Smithfield, Rhode Island, with a Bachelor of Science degree in Business Administration with a concentration in accounting. My career started here in Pownal with General Cable Company in Pownal and Williamstown, eventually accepting a position as controller for GK Technologies, the fiber optics plant in North Adams. After GK Technologies decided to relocate out of the area, I stayed in Pownal. My wife Kathy and I built our home up on North Mason Hill Road. I held many positions involving all the facets of accounting profession. In early 1990s, I was elected to the position of town treasurer for Pownal while working as an accountant for the Berkshire Broadcasting Company. Currently, I am employed in the finance office of the Southwest Vermont Supervisory Union. I am running for the town auditor because I feel the position plays a vital role in preserving the democratic nature of Vermont's local government by ensuring the local officials are accountable for their expenditures of our taxpayers' money. The internal auditors are the first set of eyes to ensure the accounts are reviewed and the findings reported directly to the taxpayers. The report they generate in the annual report, which you receive in the mail, is an easy to understand picture of the town finances for the town. The external auditors only look at a sampling of the financial activities during the year. What the internal auditors do is review a majority, if not all, of the financial activities that occurred during the year to make sure the town policies and procedures are adhered to. I'd like to come into this position with an open mind that we all need to come together and work together when deciding how our tax dollars are handled. I'd like to make sure that we have the necessary checks and balances set up. I'd like to make sure we have the proper segregation of duties. It is time to hire a bookkeeper. Is it time to hire a bookkeeper to do the duties that the town presently have done by the administrative assistant and treasurer? Now is not the time to eliminate the office of auditor. It is not the time to weaken our oversight. Now is the time to use the office of auditor to work hand in hand with the staff and elected officials to identify what is best for the taxpayers of Pownal. Let's get the oversight process working properly before we discuss eliminating the office of auditor. I'd like to clear up one misunderstanding with a ballot article and Vermont Digger article that was referenced online and in letters to the editor. There are many Vermont presently do not have CPA audits. Pownal has an audit every year, and we will continue to have audits. The internal auditors work hand in hand with the external auditors. Thank you.
Thank you. Very good. So going back up the list here, we have a write-in candidate for delinquent tax collector, Ms. Krystal Gardner. She's also running for auditor for 3 years as well. She's coming to give a statement, I believe. Hopefully. Here she goes. Need a microphone?
Probably. Hello, everyone. I'm Krystal Gardner. Some of you know me, some of you don't. I have a 4-year degree in accounting. I've got 19 years in accounting background, working in different businesses, working with CPAs. For 17 years, I've owned my own accounting business. I've worked with Pownal Youth Baseball as a treasurer for the last 8 years. Bennington Farmers Market treasurer for the last 3. I've worked with Dave Adams, Tom Lankowski as an auditor for the last year. It's been a great experience. Hopefully you'll keep us. If not, I would like to use my experience and help work with the public and with the delinquent tax collections and help taxpayers try to figure out how to do some budgeting, and so maybe in the next future years they won't be delinquent.
All right. Thank you very much. Okay. The last one was town agent, Ms. Rebecca Dragon is not present, but I do want to note that she was running if I didn't say that before. And that is all the candidates we have to intro tonight. So we'll have Mr. Dave come up and conclude the event.
Gee, how about a well-deserved round of applause for all of you. And simply to reiterate what I said at the beginning, we know it's not fun to come and sit at this table, and we know how important and time-consuming the job is. So the fact that you even put yourself forward to serve this community is commendable and very much appreciated. Thanks to the audience for being here. Thanks again to Friends of Pownal, to Cat TV, and let's not miss the chance, given what Friends of Pownal have set up here, to mix and mingle with candidates and to ask questions that we might like to individually of them as they stay. Rosemarie.
Candidates are invited to bring literature. They can place it at that table up front.
Right. Is there anything else we've forgotten?
There's another meet and greet on Saturday.
Okay. Do you know the details?
Sorry. Yep.
Just to clarify, hopefully it's okay. There is another meet and greet on Saturday. I believe Brian and Melanie Harris are helping to organize that event at Faith Church. Is it from 11 to 1, correct? Yes? Okay. So open to the community, open to candidates, whoever wants to come and be a part of that is more than welcome to.
Great.
And we're going to have some food.
And food, even better.
People are willing to contribute to it.
All right. Thank you again. Enjoy.